निर्दिष्ट रथों पे बांधी जाती है। इसका मतलब कि वो अब रथों पे आने के लिए प्रस्तुत हैं। आज्ञापाल बांधे जाने पर श्रीनाथ प्रभु का रथ राजमहल के जो सम्मुख राजखला है उससे लाकर मंदिर के सामने खड़ा कर दिया जाता है। यह देखिए, चंद्रमा के समान चमकते हुए श्वेत वर्ण बड़े भाई बलराम जी, और ये भी इनके घृणित नयन, ना ये किसी के मित्र हैं ना किसी के शत्रु। ये यहाँ पे विराजमान हो गए हैं पूरे रथ पे, और अभी उनको ऊपर तुलसी के पत्ते चढ़ाए जा रहे हैं। आगे के हाल के लिए मैं अपने साथी सरोज जी से अनुरोध करूँगी।
करवो मुदाभिर्नारी बदन कमल स्वाद मधुपः रमाशंभुर ब्रह्मसुरपति गणेशार्चित पादो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे. So these words from Sri Jagannatha Stakam, composed centuries back by Sri Sankaracharya, determines the dedication that anybody can have, and all the devotees they need to have, and they truly have in their worship and understanding of Jagannatha consciousness. In the same way, like in the 19th century, Saint John Henry Newman, when he composed, he was a holy man who had got into some trouble, physical health was deteriorating, and the alchemists, that we call them to be doctors in the modern age now, they advised him for a change of climate, and he went to the Italian source, and when he was recovering with good health, he returned to England, and when he was coming on the boat, suddenly a storm came from nowhere and the sky became dark, and that was the time he dedicated himself, he surrendered his own obscure self and said, "Lead kindly light amid the encircling gloom, lead thou me on, the night is dark and I am far from home. Lead thou me on, keep thou my feet, I do not ask to see the distant scene, one step enough for me. I don't want anything, I just want to view you, I just want to realize you." That is what Newman said, and in the same way Jagannatha consciousness had been conceptualized centuries back. So Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me, and the worship of Lord Jagannatha, the rituals which we are following right now, they have been predetermined centuries back, and everything has been codified in Purushottama Mahatmya of Skanda Purana, Purushottama Mahatmya of Brahma Purana, and that of Narada Purana, and that of Padma Purana, and also Niradri Mahoday, and also Vamadeva Sanghita. So everything has been codified and nothing had changed. Even the choice of colors, even the choice of activities, everything has been pre-decided and everything is traditional. The paint that the deities they wear, because they love to be painted, nowhere, no god, no deity wants to be painted in any part of the world, and here it is an exception. And here the paint that is used is all collected from the natural pigments, whether it is white or even the black or even the yellow, these are all natural pigments. This is the position of the sanctum that we get to view. There is something, some untoward, something odd had happened. That is why Lord had been swayed onto the right and is not able to move. Unless he desires, unless he wants, nothing is possible. So that is the will, and probably he is taking the test of the devotion of the devotees. And here, these are the servitors, the ritualists and the functionaries are there. This is the top pinnacle of the chariot of Lord Jagannatha. The yellow being the highlighted color of Lord Jagannatha is the Nandi Ghosh, it is called. And this draping is done beautifully. This is pattern on the applique work for which Odisha is famous, and it is also a traditional craft which is being followed for hundreds of years. There is no recorded history about that. Of course, there is commercial deviation to the work, and this is also now used, and many items are produced just for home decorations. But the origin of the art and craft of Africa work relates to the temple of Lord Jagannatha. We can see the gong beaters are there, and when I talk about the gong beaters, I come to understand about the chenda beaters, those who partake in the Mahabali festival in Kochi in Kerala. So there what happens, the chenda beating is such an intricate work. The children, the young children, when they mature, they are prompted by their parents to get into the chenda beating. And when they come to get themselves trained in chenda beating, they start beating with the stone drums, so that their hands and fingers would be set. They get blisters, but they don't mind, because they know that they have to one day offer their services to Mahabali. So Mahabali is very popular there in Kerala, and that is the way. In Ernakulam there is a place called Matanchari Palace. It's also known as the Portuguese Palace, and there in the precincts of that palace, particularly the training is held. The open air training is held, and chenda is an instrument. It's a drum. It's a small drum, and covered with a cow hide. But let me tell you, even if it is covered with a cow hide, it is also allowed in the festivals. In the same way, we have the mridangam that is also taken to the inner precincts of the temple. Now, I'll be talking more about that, and this is the way the Banati acrobat is playing with the Bana Banati. As because he is playing his Bana Banati, the flag-tethered Banati there, as because he is standing before the chariot of Lord Jagannatha, he has particular colored flags attached to the Banati. There's yellow and red. This is the highlighted color. And still there is some problem, because Lord finds it, or the devotees, they find it a little bit difficult to move the Lords, to make him seated on that particular spot. This is called the lotus seat. And behind it, as we can see, because we don't get a clear view, of course, some way I can see, there is an upturned lotus bud is there. And this is the motif that is followed, whether the Lords are seated in the bathing altar, or even the bejeweled altar inside the temple in Sanctum Sanctorum, or when they go to the garden house, otherwise known as the Gundicha temple, there also the same motif is followed. I tell you all these things only to make you realize one thing, that the motif that we find, it's all there as per the tradition. Nothing has come on deviation. If we have a grand view of the chariot, you see, as we can get the view there, we have got different motifs are there. The banana plants are there, which is understood to be a matter of harbinger of good luck. That is there. Then the fish is there. Then also the flowers are there, and on the middle of the there is